like creating order out of chaos. And as much as I don't like the chaos of startup, the journey between startup and established business is where we get to play, we get to be creative, we get to build systems.
Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Necessary Entrepreneur. And the reason why I can say fantastic is you're going to know that there's a lot of brilliance coming from the world of business, from technology and all the things happening today. But it's someone who was born in Italy, who's now in Australia, who's been a world traveler, and we're going to get more perspective than just someone in the good old US of A. So this is going to be really good. So I'm joined today by Valentina Coin. It's Coin to us English folks, right? C-O-I-N. She's a co-founder of Via Technology. Valentina helps service-based businesses get out of the chaos and into systems that actually work, aligning people, processes, and technology to scale predictably. She's led over 150 digital transformation projects, giving entrepreneurs the tools and clarity to grow their business without burning out. Valentina, great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark.
Yes. So if that intro is proper, tell us all this scaling, these 150 digital transformations. Anytime someone's done 150 of something, they have some expertise and some knowledge within it. So what have you done with these more than over 150 digital transformation projects?
What have I done with them? Ooh, you would think, well, they're all unique, but they're all the same. We all love thinking we're unique, right? Our business is unique. We're different than everybody else. When we're down in the weeds, into the details, yes, we are. But as soon as we elevate that and we take a look at the world of business at 37,000 feet, suddenly most problems become the same. And most solutions become very, very similar. So that's why we have that very solid framework of people, process, and technology. Because in our opinion, you can reconduct every problem to one of those things.
Did you have that designed when starting the business? Did you understand that? Or is that framework that you built as you learned and grew?
More the second one. And I'd probably posit that's the most likely scenario for most business owners who started their own consulting practice. Before Via Technology as a consultancy, my husband and I were running a traditional development company, a software development company, and we were squarely in the technology field, right? We were building software for the disability industry, and we built a really good solution that really good businesses purchased with really good teams who were implementing it. And yet something was missing. Some projects just didn't quite click. And over time, I've come to realize that everybody was treating technology as the silver bullet because we all want efficiency. We all want tech to solve our problem, and it can. But when we look at tech as 100% of the solution, it's going to fall short. I think about it as a three-legged stool. If you try to sit it on one leg, it'll topple, right? So you need all three legs. You need technology, you need people, and you need process. So you need clarity on how the business operates, where the complexities are, where we can simplify and streamline. And that should happen well away from the technology. Then you need your people aligned towards the change that's about to happen. If you go through digital transformation, which is really just a fancy word for implementing systems, technology, platform, and digitizing your business, you need your people to be aligned with the journey that you're about to go through. Otherwise, they're going to actively resist it, or they're going to ignore it, or there's going to be a lot of people trouble if there is no alignment. And if we don't gather their perspective before we go and implement the software, because it could be the wrong software. Maybe the CEO up here sees something, but the team on the ground sees something completely different, and the solution we put in place is only half of the solution that we need. And then finally, once we have those two pieces, then tech can come in. Then we can find the right software or the right dashboard or the right automation. We can implement it, we can optimize it, all of that can happen if we first have process and people. So I'd say I developed it fairly, 80% of it was developed in the software development company. And when I started the consultancy, I started refining my model. And I think as entrepreneurs often do, I tried to overcomplicate it. I added all these steps and all these fancy names. And then I said, you know what? Let's keep it simple. People, process, tech, all in service of scaling and growing and delivering an experience. That's all what it is.
When are you brought in? When is it realized that you're needed? Your business is needed? What happens in an organization that causes this?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with Verne Harnish or any of the business growth and scale models, we know that business happens in stages. You've got your startup, your grow up, your scale up, and then there's a split. We either slow down and the curve goes towards the bottom, or we reinvent ourselves and keep growing. Those are roughly the stages, no matter who the business book that you listen to is. Typically, we come in between the grow up and the scale up phase, because a business needs to go through a phase of, well, first of all, establishing themselves as a business. So a startup, in our opinion, the system, people, process, and tech that a startup should have should be really agile, nimble. You shouldn't have very well set and well-defined processes, because that's your strength as a startup. You shouldn't have a super, super solid, you shouldn't buy a sales force as a startup, typically. Because you want to be agile and nimble. And as you start growing and growing and growing, typically leaders do this via hiring more bodies. So people become the foundation of your growing. So more people, more houses, more vehicles, more trucks, more. And then there reaches a point where more just doesn't cut it anymore, because the more people means the more chaos. The more people means operations start falling off the tracks. Admin costs skyrocket. We start having high staff turnover. We start having client dissatisfaction. And the leaders, because the team isn't small anymore, they don't have the finger on the pulse over what's happening. They can't see what's happening. And that all translates in a lack of growth. And typically, leaders think, well, I can't grow because I don't have the right software. And to a degree, that is true. If you don't have a software that allows you to see what's happening in your business, a dashboard that pulls all your numbers so that you can not only see what's happening, but also see what's happening today, so that I know in 3 or 6 months, I'm going to have a dip in sale or an increase in orders, so I can prepare for that. Definitely tech is a piece of the puzzle. But yes, typically we come in between the grow up and the scale up phase to unlock with technology and with people and with crystallizing those processes. Because at that point, we do want to crystallize or start crystallizing the foundation of what a business is and how a business does the thing that it does, so that they can scale, so that they can keep reinventing themselves. And that typically is the second time we come around, when a business has scaled, when it has been solid for a period of time, and they start thinking to themselves, wow, okay, I don't want to slow it down. Maybe I need to reinvent myself. Maybe I need to have a new business model. Maybe I need to go from in-person to online, or from online to in-person, or product to service, whatever that may be. Those are the two typical stages of business growth in which leaders engage us.
Have you found moments when it didn't work? Have you identified that? Like, hey, maybe even in advance, you're starting to see like, hey, I don't really know. This doesn't look like this is going to be a natural fit. It's probably happened from moments when it didn't go well.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. That always happens. We have a pretty strict process for onboarding a client. And one of those steps that we do is we always start with a half-a-day workshop. So typically, businesses have engaged with us with all of our content that's out there. So webinars, free trainings, YouTube podcasts. We do a lot of speaking at conferences and a lot of hands-on workshops. So typically a client will already know the way we work and understand the way we think, but we always start with a half-a-day workshop. And what that gives the client is a 90-day roadmap to execute their digital transformation. And what that gives us is a very good understanding on how coachable they are, how much manpower they can dedicate, how much brain power and mental capacity and emotional capacity they can dedicate as a business to the process we're about to go through. Because typically our engagements last anywhere between 1 and 3 to 5 years. In an intense engagement, and then we taper off to a monthly retainer model. So it's quite a long journey, and if a business isn't ready for that, that's where the mismatch happens. So typically, we see leaders come to us and say, we need a new software. Just tell us what to buy. That's not a fit, because that's a quick fix. We're looking for a silver bullet. We're looking for the best software in the world. And typically we're looking at it in a really, really short time frame that's not going to fit. So typically we give them the best advice that we can, and we either refer them to another professional or, give them a couple of warnings and just say, we're not a good fit. Very rarely we are engaged and it turns out to be a bad fit later on. And whenever that's the case, my best policy is simply communication. I simply just off the record give a phone call to the CEO or the director or the GM, whoever that may be, and just have an honest conversation. Say, hey, this isn't working. We're either putting in too many hours or your team isn't showing up and they're not engaged where they really were at the beginning. What can we do? And if there's nothing that can be done, then that partnership is no longer a good fit.
Yeah. Ideally, it's like that is not fun to get into. If you're a year and a half in, it's like, man, this thing's not successful. That's not good. Everybody has one or two of those. What do you like most about this?
Ooh, what do I like most? I love the light bulb moments that happen in someone else's brain, because we do a lot of highly technical and highly strategic work. But at the end of the day, if I am the only one who's enjoying it, if I'm the only one who's understanding it, it'll be just ego, right? And I'm not there just to say, oh, I'm so good. I'm such a good digital transformation. No, this is really about the person that's in front of me, whether it's the CEO or whether it's a team member that's working on the ground all day, driving hard, delivering their service. And I'm talking to them and I'm explaining either why we're implementing a software or why the process needs to change in that way, or why the 27 steps they are doing, because we've always done it that way. We can actually do it in 3, and they have this resistance. But I've always done it that way. But if the software is doing my job, then what do I do? Then who am I? And if AI is taking over, no, I still need to check it. I still need to check it, because what if the computer is wrong? And then there is that light bulb moment where it clicks. And that is absolutely different for everybody. This is where every human is different. Sometimes it's done by listening. Sometimes it's done by a little bit of psychology. Sometimes it's done by pure logic. And for the CEOs, it's typically, what am I going to get out of this? ROI and just hard numbers. But that light bulb moment, it just shifts behind the eye. It's just so beautiful to see. And then I know I've done my job right.
What do you think? What's your inspiration for? You're working with business owners, with directors, with employees, and all those people have different types of purpose and different reasons, their life, their daily experience, their goals for life. What are your goals? You and your husband goals. You're there in a different country. You're building these businesses, not where you were from. What's your business goals? How do you think that you identify or connecting with those? How's that connect with the people you're working with? Because you all share something and it's a goal, what you're building. It might be a different part of the business, but you're both building.
100%.
What are you building this for?
We partially, I'll be cheeky here. Partially, we love the building. We love the act of building and creating. We love solving problems. I truly believe businesses exist to solve problems, and anyone can start a business if they can solve a problem. The key that sometimes is missing is I see so many talented individuals have an idea, have a brilliant solution to a problem, whether that be big or small, separate story. But what is missing is they sometimes they're so engaged with the problem because maybe they have a lot of care for a particular social cause, or they have so much excitement for the solution. They're so in love with the gizmo that they developed, or the trinket that they built, or the whatever it is, either the problem or the solution. They fall in love with that and lose sight of strategy and systems. I really believe the secret sauce of business is systems, people, process, tech, and strategy, having that long-term vision. And for me, that is why we build businesses. Every single one of the businesses we've been involved in, and I have no doubt every single one of our future ones, will have that element of systemization. And I think listeners might think, well, systemization, that means that you want everything to be done by automation and AI and machines. That's not true. Every single business needs to find the right balance between human and machine that suits their needs and their clients' needs. And for me, building that system is what really gets me excited. And as soon as a business is systemized, for example, the software dev company, as soon as we reached 30, 40 employees, we got ISO certified, and we started going into the land of compliance and governance, and it really became that big machine. I could have done it, but it got a bit boring. I like creating order out of chaos, and as much as I don't like the chaos of startup, the journey between startup and established business is where we get to play, we get to be creative, we get to build systems, and then we get to hand it back to the leader or to the owner or to the family that owns that business. Go, yes, this is now yours. Continue. The stewardship is yours.
What's your definition if we pulled up a physical dictionary? Because we all have the digital ones we go to now, and a lot of them are called AI. We ask AI, but what would be your definition of systematize or system?
Our definition of systematize. Systemizing is building repeatable, predictable outcomes. And systemizing a business is done in the 3 steps of our framework. So you need to design and plan how your business will operate. You need to understand how to structure it. You need to understand how you're going to measure success, and you need to map. So that's the process part of how you systemize your business, so you can continue to achieve repeatable outcomes. You need to have people who are in aligned with that and have the right expertise to continue having repeatable outcomes. And then technology becomes, the way I often describe it is, imagine you're taking a journey. And if you go on foot, you're a person, right? So you're walking. You can go only that far on foot. And that's if you try to grow your business just by people. Then if we start mapping and measuring how our business operates, maybe we have a bicycle, right? We can go a little bit faster, and we now have a map, a GPS attached to the front handle of the bicycle. So we know in which direction we're going. We're going a little bit faster because it's a little bit more systemized, but we're still not going at the speed that we might desire as entrepreneurs. And what we then need to do at that stage of business, which is really hard to do, is we need to slow down the bike. We need to stop, get off the bike, start building a Ferrari, which will take a little while. So we'll stay stationary for a little while. And then as the Ferrari is almost built, you don't have to have it all built. You can still build it as you're going. As entrepreneurs, we do that. And then you can start driving with the Ferrari. So now you have a GPS, a human, and a very fast machine that's going to take you really, really far, really, really fast. That's systemizing a business for me.
Well, that's it. So she's hired everyone. Their business is going to grow exponentially in 2026. So many people, everybody says, I want to scale, I want to grow, and, them X amount of multiples and EBITDA and all this, but they're scaling and they're building all these streams and all these systems, but then the chaos shows up, right? Because they're preparing for growth and spending all the revenue, and they just think it's going to come together. What's a decision that you would encourage all these folks, they're not your client yet, to make around all the systems that they're engaging with over a 12 to 24 month period? What would you encourage them to do? Like if let's just say they're listening, but they didn't hire you, but they hired another consultant, or what do you encourage them to do over a 12 or 24 month period?
Great question. First thing to do, take a step back and review what you already have. One of my biggest pet peeves is leaders. As leaders, often, and I put myself in that category, we like shiny new objects. We always believe the new software or the new hire or the new process will solve the problem. And I'm very, very firm on this. The very first thing every business should do is review what you already have and get more out of what you already have. Because chances are most business owners listening already have really good systems, already have really good people, really good process, and really good technology. If you only stop and actually leverage everything that you have. Typically, I see, if we're talking technology, the amount of times I go into a business and the team is only using 10 to 20% of a software, or the amount of time we have a really brilliant human in a management or in a leadership position, and maybe they were brought up from a worker on the ground as a team member, and then they were brought up to team leader, and then they were brought up to manager. We are not leveraging the capacity of that person, chances are. Maybe we didn't spend enough time training and educating them in the new role, because, if you can do the job, surely you can manage people who can do the job. Two different skill sets. So my biggest recommendation over a 12-month period, once a year, review your systems, review your tech stack, review your processes, and review your people, if you're not already doing that. And what I mean by that is, in the technology, make a list of all the software that you have. That is also really good from a financial perspective. Make a list of all the software that you have. You should already have it, but if you don't have it, do that straight away. How much are you paying for licenses? What part of the business is that software supporting you in? What outcome is it delivering to you? And I guarantee that business owners will find overlap. So you might have two subscription for editing video, because two different arms of marketing uses one subscription for editing video content, and your account managers to deliver training to your clients. For example, if you have a consultative business, they might use a different software to edit video. Now you're paying two licenses. That's so inefficient. But then ask yourself, why are you paying two licenses? Why are the two teams using different software? Do they actually have different needs? And maybe one software doesn't support the other team? Or is it just they didn't talk to each other? What's the reason? So that's the first thing I would do. Take stock of everything you already have, what you're using it for, and really be strategic and analytical about, is this serving me? And is it going to take me to the next level of business? If your next year is going to be stability, no problem. If your next year of business or your next 3 years of business are going to have growth, maybe you're going to grow by acquisition, maybe you have new venues, new location opening up, a new line of service. Is the software you already have, ask yourself proactively this question, going to take you there? And then, as callow as that may sound, ask yourself the same about your people. Ask yourself the same about your processes. And processes, it's not just about having SOPs documented. It's really about keeping it simple. Where is the next bottleneck that I'm going to find? Is it in sales? Is it in marketing? Is it in delivery? Is it in finance? And how can I open up that bottleneck before all of the work ends up clogging up that particular piece of my business, so that everything flows better? And then, I know I'm giving you a lot very fast. I'm going to give you one more. That's annually. Quarterly, if you have software, go and consult with your software vendor. Or if you have a tech expert, go and consult with them and ask them, what's new in your software? What's been released that I don't know about and that's helpful to me? And if you don't have an account manager, just go on their frequently asked question, go on their new release page, go on the online material and get that information for yourself. That is how businesses buy a software and only use 10% of its capacity while paying for 100% of the software fee. You don't stay up to date with new features. So I would do that quarterly. And then there's a whole bunch of things you can do with people and process quarterly. But I think
And that's when they
I'm
hire you.
overwhelming you now.
No, that's when they hire you. No, that's when they hire you. What's your expected outcome as we wrap up the initial conversation here, as we start to get this Australian brilliance? What type of outcome are you really working towards? Is it based upon an outcome that you look at the business and say, hey, here's really how we can make a difference? Or a lot of times it's the business owner or director, or they bring it to you and say, we want this outcome. So do you look at the business and derive what you can get out of it, or they come to you with expectations of outcomes that are desired and wanted?
Both, as would be often the case. So typically a leader will come to us with very clear desires and outcomes. And we always take that into account. But we also always have.
I saw the smile.
But since you spell it. But we also have a really honest conversation with them and say, well, this is what you want, but we feel like that's surface level. Can we go 3 or 4 steps deeper? And we actually believe what you're asking for, you're using this word, but what you actually mean is that. And typically they'll say, oh, yes, that's exactly. Because often we look at the solution, the medication, the pill, the surface level. Whereas if we go a few layers deeper, that often, it's like the light bulb moment that I mentioned before. It just hits something inside of us. And I see that the CEO's body on the camera just go, relax, sit back. Yes, that is exactly what I want. So they come to us with efficiency. Automation. I want automation, or I have too many admin. I need to, again, as callow as that sounds, I need to reduce my admin team from 7 to 3. And I know software can do the work of 4 of them. And we try to go deeper in the sense of, yes, that could be the ultimate outcome, but the intention and the reason why we're going there is different. It isn't just to save money. Save money is the consequence. It's a consequence of this shift that you need in your business. So the example, again, another example that I often give is when someone approaches us and they want efficiency. Say someone approaches us and they want to purchase an online booking system for their business. I'll give you 2 business cases. One is a gym who wants to put in place a booking system for their PT trainers. And so in that case, they want to save on admin. So we look at, who are your clients? Okay, so they're typically, 20 to 28-year-old, typically male. Typically they like to work out early in the morning or late at night. So we definitely need something digital. We need something async. We know that they want to talk to people. They just want to go on, tick, tick, tick. Is my person available? Book. I'm going to rock up. They're going to be there. We're going to exercise. Now, in that case, technology can take maybe 80% of that. And people and process are going to be really streamlined and linear because, yes, tech is going to be the star of the show because that's what the client desires. That's what the business model demands. And as a result, we get operational efficiency, which is what they ask for. Now, if a different business comes to us and this business is a doctor's practice that's based in a aged care retirement village, and they also want a booking system for their doctors and their nurses, then we start looking at who is your client base, what experience do they crave from you, and the CEO still wants efficiency, right? He still goes, I've got 4 admin ladies, they're manning the phone, it's too expensive. And we don't see the return, all right? So we look at the model, we look at the client, we look at the experience that is going to engage more individuals to come and take those services. And we may make a proposal to say, all right, so we may give you a calendar booking system, but really what your clients are telling us is that they crave being able to walk into the clinic and have a chat with the receptionist and tell the receptionist about their 4-year-old nephew who just won an award at school. And maybe they want to have that 15-minute engagement, and they'll actually come, even if they don't have an appointment, to access this other service that we can put in place because that's the experience they crave. And yes, I'm going to give you a piece of software. And yes, I'm going to give you a process to keep engaging with them, maybe send letters in the mail as a marketing tool. And your people are going to be the start of the show. Now, I gave you efficiency. I gave you higher income, higher billing, higher engagement. better working condition for your team, but I didn't do that just by saving money on admin. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. 100%. Yep. What do you think as we wrap up here I like the conversation, but for the final question is, we all know, I mean, listen, AI, it's the hot thing. But the average human is interacting with it on an app and just talking to a Chat GPT or Perplexity or one of these others. But the true AI behind the scenes helping build companies and build systems and running these things, is it a significant change over the past 12 to 24 months that it's helping us improve business? Or is it was already here? It's just another tool that we're using. So, or is it the drastic, significant, enormous change that it is made to be?
I'm going to be cheeky again and choose a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, and I'll explain what I mean. Yes, it was already here. Yes, the public is now accessing those tools, which is what sounds fresh and new, but they've been existing for many, many years. We see, and that's what I encourage my team to always say to our clients, AI is just another tool. I love that you just said that. AI is just another tool. It is a very powerful tool. And I think, to get to the little bit of column B of my answer, we haven't quite seen yet the shift. The AI tools that are currently available to the market, in my opinion, haven't quite hit that tremendous element of acceleration that I am watching out for. Think about it when the internet came. Or computers came. I remember my mother going through invoices and client files all by hand, pen and paper, writing it down with these massive filing cabinets. And then the computer came, and it did revolutionize the way she was working. But it didn't happen all at once. It took a little while to load. And so what I'm seeing now is all the hype around AI. The tools that are available right now, I don't think are quite what's going to give us that acceleration. So I'm still watching on the sideline. We're implementing it in businesses very sparingly and very intentionally. There needs to be a really, really good reason. Sometimes AI is used as a marketing tool. And if you sell hammers, everything is a nail. And we don't like that. We like to use the right tool for the right job. So AI can be really good for some operational needs, but not for others. It's actually very wrong for other needs. So that's my answer. Yes, it's been always here. Yes, it's just another tool. We need to understand it. We need to not overestimate it and not underestimate it either, so we're not left behind. But it is just another tool, and we need to watch out carefully and strategically for that moment where it will become that accelerating factor to help grow our business. And I don't think we're quite there yet, frankly.
When that happens, what will we do? What's the best advice? What will you do? What will I do? What will all of us do, whether we're working together or not? When that happens, what should we do?
First of all, be on the lookout for it so you're prepared and it doesn't catch you unawares. So play with those tools. Play with the AI tools, but don't let it consume you. Don't believe that you're being left behind if you don't have your entire business run by AI. It's the right thing to do not to have that. When that happens, the biggest thing I think any of us can do is be prepared, not only on a practical level, but on an emotional and on a mental level. Change is really disruptive for humans, and we live and breathe change all the time. But there is a curve, an emotional curve that humans go through when things change, especially when they change really quickly. So my biggest advice would be prepared for it, understand it's going to happen, prepare yourself for the possibility of letting go of some of the things you're doing manually or some of the control that you might have over your business, and embrace that. Yes, there might be AI tools that can take that over for you. Let go of your ego and be prepared for that change. And when that happens, embrace it, ride the wave. If you're not comfortable being one of the first one, because not everybody is, watch out for the first ones around you and then jump on, because the sooner you do, the sooner you're going to go through the wave of grief over what you've lost and what you've acquired. And the sooner you're going to come out the other side as a competent, confident user. That would be
Perfect.
my advice.
Thank you. Great advice today. Valentina Coin from Via Technology.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for having me.
for spending time with us and stuff. And look forward to following you and getting to know you a little bit more and figuring out what you guys do and follow your path. And whether it's closer or from afar to learn a little bit about what you guys are doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah, come visit us in Australia. It's sunny.
It's a long way.
It is a long way. Thank you
This
so
is
much
what's
for having
amazing
me. It
about
was a pleasure.
technology. I mean, look what we can do, right? I mean, the things that can
Yes.
be accomplished now. There's nothing like being in person with someone, but what can be accomplished now virtually and technologically is pretty incredible.
Yeah, we all got used to Zoom meetings. A few years ago, we had a little thing that forced us to get used to it. And there was so much resistance to it before. I remember that. And
Yeah.
then suddenly everyone's now comfortable with it.
I know. I remember GoToMeeting and all those companies and stuff, and people are like, "What? No, I want to
Oh,
see you."
goodness.
So here we are. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.